if I'm showing up full of excuses, sluggish, with no energy, with a negative mindset, in bad shape, my negative self-talk is negative. Mm-hmm. My self-talk is negative. And so my actions are going to be negative. And I become this drainer. I become this, it's a downward spiral. So that's why for me, it's very important, because my family is the most important thing to me. Mm-hmm. I have to show up at my best.
It is vital that people take into consideration not only getting rest, but also eating well and exercising. People underestimate the fact that sometimes it can really damage your health when you don't take that trifecta into consideration. Today's guest, Mr. Octavio Urias, is somebody who's admirable when it comes to making sure that he holds you accountable for ensuring that you get in shape and you're healthy, because a healthy body is a healthy mind. So without further ado, on the LHP podcast, Octavio Urias, thank you for being on the show. How you doing, man?
Marcelo, I'm excited to be here.
Cool.
Very, very excited. Looking forward to this. Thank you so much for the intro. Sometimes we need that, right? We need to talk to ourselves like that, because we're our biggest enemy, and we need to lift ourselves up. And definitely mindset, exercise, proper nutrition, proper recovery are key. And they make your entire life better. So I'm excited to be here with you and talk about this.
Perfect, man. Talk to us a little bit about how your journey came to be as an entrepreneur, because you're quite young, and I think that you're impressionable. All the young people watching the show right now are looking at you and they're saying, hey, cool, man. I mean, this guy's young. I could do what he's doing. Why not? How'd you come about with the idea of the gym?
Well, it's a long story that started from when I was very young as a kid. I was born as a small kid. I had that bad genetics, awkward body. And so I was very weak, very shy. I couldn't look at the other kids in the eye. I was bullied. And so it all started because of a lack of self-esteem. And people, the kids would make fun of me. They would beat me up. And I just felt like I was trying to find a way to get friends and try to people please. But I lost myself in the process. Mm-hmm. And it all started because I wanted to be able to defend myself.
During that time, you were getting picked on a lot?
I was getting picked on a lot. I was not the popular kid. Mm-hmm. So I got into martial arts, and I learned how to defend myself.
What kind of martial arts?
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo. Okay, you're throwing kicks.
I was throwing kicks and other things that I didn't learn there. But that gave me the confidence to defend myself. Then I realized I was using that power in the wrong way, because I went back and kicked their butt, basically. Right. And I grabbed the kid and smashed his face on a rock. Like, I was just trying to figure myself out, like most young people, right? Mm-hmm. And so later on, I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I just need to get into the gym. Because I was starting to get into that point where, like, I want to find a girlfriend. I want to, it's a teenage time. So I was like, let me get into the gym. Let me get stronger. And I thought that I was in there to get stronger and look better so that people wouldn't make fun of me. Mm-hmm. But what I found is totally different. I found discipline. I found the way you feel. Mm-hmm. It just makes you better all around. And so I did like a 360, and I became about helping others. Because when other people around me started to see that I was getting results, they're like, hey, what are you doing? Can you help me do the same thing you're doing? And that's how I found myself coaching others.
Okay, so you started off as a coach.
I started out as a coach without even thinking that this is what I would do. I always thought I was going to be a civil engineer. Mm-hmm. And my parents wanted me to be a civil engineer, not the fitness thing. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of stumbled upon it. Like, I started to love myself, and I started to love helping others love themselves, overcome their obstacles, overcome their negative self-talk, their low confidence, their bad self-esteem, and all the bad things that come with that, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we take our way into a self-destruction we get into the wrong things, right?
Yeah.
Maybe drugs, maybe bad behaviors, maybe you name it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I found myself being a coach. Later on, as I fell more and more in love with it, I was like, you know what? I think this is what I want to do. I think this is what I want to do with my life. I was trying to figure out the calculus and all the engineering stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is
a headache.
this is not for me. I just love helping people. I love seeing them. Like when you see somebody lose 10, 20, 30 pounds and you see that switch flip in their head, see how everything changes. I was like, I'm hooked.
No excuses.
Just do it. And I first started as a coach here at a big box gym. Fast forward a few years, started my business. And I grew up with the greatest parents, most loving, supportive parents.
So cool.
But when I wanted to go into fitness as my career, they were like, oh my God, no, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's a horrible idea.
Started questioning you.
Oh my God, like you seriously want to do that? You need a real job.
And you're like, what do you mean by real?
What do I mean by real? I'm gonna do this. I love this. This is how I'm gonna make a living. And so I wanted to lease a space. I was like 20 years old, so nobody would rent a space to me. It took me like 6 months to find someone who would lease me some space. Because I mean, you're not gonna trust a 20-year-old with no credit, no money, no support, no experience with a lease. And so I fought them on it. I was like, I'm gonna do this. They didn't want me to. They wanted me to continue with college. I dropped out. I was like, well, I'll move out. I'll do this. And they're like, when you get stuck and you get in trouble, just don't come back to us to get you out of it.
Yeah. Don't come trying to convince us to bail you out of anything.
And that was the greatest gift in my life.
Wow.
At that time, I had so much resentment. I was pissed. I was angry. I was like, why are you not supporting me? But that was the biggest blessing that I got. Because when the going got tough, when the electricity got turned off, the water got turned off, and I lost the little apartment when I was living, and I ended up homeless, sleeping on the floor of the gym, I was this close to quitting.
That must have been tough for you, man.
It was very tough. And it was the best time of my life because that made me who I am today. And if they would have supported me, I would have quit right away. I would have been just a loser, you know what I mean? Because I didn't have that grit, but I had something to prove.
Wow.
And so at times I didn't have money for food. I didn't have a fridge with food there. I didn't have a place to shower. I had to sneak into the big box gym back then a couple times a week to get into the locker rooms and shower. Because I had to choose, do I want to keep the lights on at the gym and keep building this dream, or do I want to eat? Do I want to have a comfortable place? But that thing helped me get through it because I had something to prove. I was not going to go back asking for help.
Talk to us a little bit more about your moments of doubt. How did you manage those? How did you handle those, Octavio? Because what you just said right there is something quite inspirational, man. Like nobody right now, after hearing what you just said right now, has any excuse not to be able to say, I can overcome this obstacle.
Moments of doubt. Shoot, from back then, I mean, it was constantly in my head because I wanted to build this amazing transformation program and help people live a better life. But I was my own enemy because in my head, I was like, who are you to tell these people how to be better? Look at you. You don't even have a home. You don't even have money for food. I lost 20 pounds in a month out of stress and no nutrition. I wasn't eating. I was pushing my body every day, coaching people, it was a business of one. I was doing everything. Lack of sleep. So it was my biggest crit. I was like, who are you? I felt like such an imposter.
Imposter syndrome. Huh?
And I didn't even have an AC at the gym. Half the gym was concrete floor because we couldn't afford, the equipment. My little alarm clock from the night, those little alarm clocks from the 90s, they had a radio. You could put the AM that was our sound system. And so I'm in this big warehouse, half of it no floor, no equipment, no AC, 100 degrees in there. I'm a 21-year-old secretly sleeping in the office because my parents didn't know this. I never told them this. Trying to tell people how to be your best, live your dream. So you can just imagine I was full of self-doubt.
Wow.
And I still deal with it every day. That's the crazy part.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, man, but honestly, sometimes I feel like I do a lot, and then at the end of the day, I felt I did nothing. Isn't that weird?
Every day. And I think, I don't know about you, I think that never goes away. I learned to look at it as my asset because that's going to keep you on your toes. If you let it, you can let that doubt destroy you, or you can let it drive you. So to me, that self-doubt, I was like, if I'm doubting myself, I may be on the right path.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not doubting myself, I'm not doing something big enough or important enough. I'm just in a comfort zone. Nothing great happens there.
I hate comfort zones. How does somebody know? How do you help somebody understand that they're in a comfort zone that they need to get out of because they're not cutting it anymore? But you have to burst their bubble, and then instead of looking at you with gratitude, they see you with resentment.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, I used to drive myself nuts trying to convince somebody of like, hey, you can be better. And after trying, some people their switch would flip, and some people, no matter what you tell them, like they're just not ready to move on, or they just want to stay in there for whatever reason. Maybe it's uncomfortable for them. They're not happy with themselves, but it's their safety zone. They're used to it. So I've learned that at some point you have to want it. With our team and with our clients, like I always tell my team, like we want it more than them. We believe in them more than they believe in themselves. But at some point, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't force them to drink.
That is true.
And in my experience. So some people are looking for that little magic formula,
pill,
that magic pill, or he's gonna give me this whole crazy plan that's gonna transform my life. A lot of times, it's just you realizing. You need to change, and a lot of times it's not for you. We won't do it for us.
It's the programming. But here's the thing, though. A lot of this stems from mental health and trauma from kids. They don't believe that they can do it, or they set goals and never complete them, and that becomes a very difficult habit to break. I want to say compulsive at the same time. It's just. They don't believe in themselves. They just stop dreaming that they can actually have more for themselves. And I think that's why your gym is so important. And I'm not trying to do this to try and earn points with you or anything like that. But when I was going to your gym is full of affirmations. This is what it is. This is what you can become. This is the before. This is the after. There's no in between. You have the choice to do it. And when I talk to couples, because I do a lot of couples coaching, that's what I do, that mental health. One of the things that I do is, hey, you want to save your relationship? You want to save your life? Go to the gym. Bust yourself. Make sure that you complete your goals. And that's what you're demonstrating with Raw Fitness. So,
well, in everything, I think too, not just relationships. Like if you're not happy with your relationship, don't change it. Change you. If you're not happy with your job, change you. You're not happy with your bank account, change you. Right? A lot of times we want to point the finger. Oh, this person's wrong. This is the problem. A lot of times the problem is we jump from thing to thing, but we take ourselves with us. And if you want to change anything in your life, it starts with changing you, improving you, and that happens through fitness, through the mindset. It's connected through taking better care of yourself and looking for ways for you to improve. And like you said, a lot of people, they're in that comfort zone and they don't want to get out of there because it's more comfortable to stay there. What I've seen people go through is like once they hit rock bottom, it's like, oh, night and day. Now they're driven to do it. And so, like that quote says, right? Like Robin said this, when the pain of staying where you are is greater than the pain of change, that's when you change. Yeah. And a lot of times people are just so comfortable in their pain. They haven't reached that rock bottom. So they need to hit rock bottom. Sometimes you want to lose some weight, but you don't find that drive, go gain another 20 pounds. Have to go buy bigger clothes and hate the experience, hide in pictures, feel self-conscious about your body so that it drives you to change, right? Go eat all the McDonald's in the world until you just are so sick of it and puke that you're like, oh my God, I'm disgusted with myself. And a lot of times hitting that rock bottom, that's what I've seen people change. So the people that come to me are like, oh, I need to lose weight for this trip. It never works. They may lose it, but they gain it back because it's about something superficial. When it becomes about your highest value self, about your family, people will do it for others more than they do for themselves. When you see like, oh my God, I'm about to lose my spouse.
And that becomes tough.
That's a bigger driver that, oh, let me lose a few pounds for this cruise.
It lights a fire under somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what does the word accountability mean when a person goes into your gym and says, hey, I want to do this? What's the biggest motivator for you there? The word accountability. How do you use that as a form to change, an agent of change for somebody?
Well, accountability, I think, is a key element, and that's why we use it in our program, because I could give you the greatest diet, the greatest workout program specific for your body type, your genetics, but if you don't follow through, then how it doesn't matter how good it is, right? And that's why we focus on the mindset and the accountability to make sure you follow through. So one thing, for example, people need accountability sometimes from their partner, sometimes from an outside circle, sometimes from a coach. But what I've seen help a lot is have accountability from someone that you don't want to disappoint. Someone you don't want to disappoint, and have someone that will not be biased or comfort you when the going gets tough and, oh, well, it's okay, have some pizza today. So one thing we do is we check our clients' attendance. If somebody's not showing up, we're going to reach out. Hey, everything okay?
How do you motivate those people? You start to see a pattern.
We start to see a pattern. The moment you miss a week, you miss a second week, and you go back to square zero. That's why it's important not to miss, I think.
Consistency is everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that word consistency within itself means a lot when it comes to reaching your goals, right? And I think that, far beyond what you do as far as transforming somebody's physique is also the fact that you're a person that's also putting up videos that talks about the importance of family and family life. I love the fact that you put up a video. Man, I was totally really into that video. I thought it was really cool. You put up a bunch of pictures of your spouse, your lady, and you had some flowers, and you had a very important message that I'd like for you to kind of share there, because Love, Health, Prosperity, we're all about health. We're all about relationships and cohesiveness. And I think that nobody better right now than a person that's actually really into making sure that they're healthy, not only their mind and their body, but also their surroundings. I think that's important. Can you talk to us a little bit about that post? You know which one I'm talking about?
Which post was it? Because it
was a recent post. Memory. It was a recent post. It had your lady in it, and you were talking about making sure that you keep that fire going in your relationship.
Well, I remember. Okay. I remember with the flowers and all that. Well, first of all, why would you just want to be great in one area of your life? Why would you just want to be great in your job or your career, and then have a mediocre relationship or a mediocre, body? My belief is I want to live an extraordinary life and be an example to those people that are, with me to lift them up. And I can't be that if I'm just great in the gym. It has to be great. You have to be great in the gym, great at home, great with your family, great with your career, with your faith, whatever you believe in, right? But I think as a whole is important. And talking about that post is, I remember when I was first dating my now wife, and I would bring her flowers, and I would do special things. I'm a big believer in go the extra mile. You don't need a special occasion to go the extra mile to remind somebody that they're important to you.
Yes.
What more reason do you need that they're important to you, right? So when I started dating, I was I would take flowers and do all these things, and people around us were at the beginning were like, "Oh my God, how amazing!" And then after a while, you keep doing it, and they're like, they don't love it as much because maybe they're not getting that in their life. And so the comment that we would hear is "Oh, it's because you're dating right now. Wait until a few years. Wait until you get married."
Isn't that sad?
That's so sad that people think that way. But that's why they have an average life. That's the average mindset. And I train myself to be allergic to average mindset. I believe anything you're going to be involved with, just be the best at it. Give your best. Empty the tank. And so I said, okay, well, you'll watch. And once you propose, you're not going to do that. I proposed. I kept doing it. Once you get married, you're not going to do it. We got married. She's still getting flowers. Well, once you have kids, everything revolves around the kids. Well, we're now parents. You saw the post. It happened. So I keep showing up. And she keeps showing up for me. She's my biggest cheerleader, my biggest supporter. And at the end of the day, imagine, you could lose your job. You could lose maybe your fit. You could lose your fitness. You could lose your friendships. You could lose your circle. If you have a strong relationship at home, you can overcome anything.
True.
I would have not made it out of the pandemic if it wasn't because of her and my daughter. Because I was this close from building everything that took me a decade or more to build to seeing it all erased like that in a few weeks with the pandemic. And I lost myself. And I got out of shape. And
During the pandemic.
During the pandemic. When we didn't know anything, you know, the 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yeah, all of a sudden we're left with what the hell do we do with this whole thing?
So we didn't know all the information about this, right? It was a lot of panic. So we went grocery shopping. We bought food for like 3 months because we didn't know how long this was going to last, right? I ate all that food in like 3 weeks. And so I got out of shape. I lost everything that I built. I went into huge debt to keep the gym going, to keep staff on payroll, to keep doing things. And I felt so devastated because my identity was so attached to that one thing that I built. That and then I had a daughter on the way. She was born. And I felt like such a loser again. That self-doubt that we were talking about earlier kicked in, because how are you going to even provide for them? How are you going to even protect them and be the leader of the household when everything you've built has evaporated? And I was just trying to get back up again, and I couldn't do it. And so for a few months I was suicidal, because at least they would be taken care of by life insurance. That's how low I got.
Oh man, that must have been very difficult for you, man.
And if it wasn't because of my strong relationship with her and my family life with my daughter, I wouldn't be here today sharing this. So I think that's important. It starts with you, starts then through your relationships, and then the outside world. A lot of times people put more energy, more time into their work, their social media, their screen sucking, their scrolling, than they do in themselves and at home with the people that matter. And why do you do it all for in the first place? For them, right? But we forget that. So we got to keep showing up.
Absolutely.
The dating time where you are trying to make them fall in love cannot end. Because when it does end, the relationship ends.
And that's kind of sad, because right now we live in an era where relationships are just kind of phony a lot. And then, I don't know if you've seen them before, Octavio, but I mean, you're cruising down I-10, and then on a corner of a street, you see a sign that says, "Get divorced for cheap." I don't know if you've seen those before.
Oh my God, yeah.
$95 to get a divorce, or we'll do the paperwork for you. And they make it like, really, I mean, seriously, instead of, like you said, taking accountability.
That's accountability.
And saying to yourself, hey, if only I could say this, and this is what I always say when I'm coaching people. I'm saying, if there's a problem, I'm the problem.
Take ownership.
Ownership. Exactly right. I really want to thank you for sharing what you shared, man, because that hit deep right there, man. Because a lot of people have lived that moment of despair where they don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, geez, you know, I'm depending on a certain amount of income, and then all of a sudden, boom, like it's not there anymore. What do I do? You can't just cross your hands and wait for a miracle. You gotta move. You gotta do something. And a lot of people that are watching this show, Octavio, I know for a fact, they're gonna definitely be inspired by what you just shared with us right now. So, what does it mean to be a family man now for you, and a husband? I mean, what does that mean now at your age, at this moment?
It's everything, and it's the highest level of accountability. Because now I can't. Before I could just mess up and it was just about me. I can't do that anymore. And like I have my family relying on me. So I gotta make sure that I first of all show up as my highest self. So I'm not gonna be a great husband, a great leader, a great dad to my family if I am a half-ass version of me. If I'm showing up full of excuses, sluggish, with no energy, with a negative mindset, in bad shape, my negative self-talk is negative. My self-talk is negative. And so my actions are going to be negative. And I become this drainer. I become this it's a downward spiral. So that's why for me it's very important, because my family is the most important thing to me. I have to show up at my best. And so now I can't be, eating all the junk in the world that as much as I crave it and I see it. What's most important for me? Eat that box of donuts or be an extraordinary father and husband? For me is that. Do I want to snooze in the morning because I'm tired and I need to get up early? I'm going to get up early for them. And everything, once you get to the point, I believe, once that you do things for those that you care about, you go beyond yourself. That's the biggest accountability. And that's, for me, the biggest leverage that you can have to improve yourself and to improve your life. And I get it. A lot of people are like, oh, well, this is just such positive mindset or rah, whatever. The reason I can talk about it this way, and the reason why I say it's most important, and I was a half-ass version when I had 20 extra pounds, 40 extra pounds. Snoozing in a negative mindset. I was a half-ass version. The reason why I can talk harshly about it is because I'm talking to myself. I know how bad that hurts. And some people that are in that pain, sometimes they may not want to hear that message. But trust me, it is more painful to stay there than to hear this message and light up a fire in you and take the next step forward.
Right.
Because that's how you get out of that pain, and that's how you actually can bring your best to those people that matter to you in your life.
Yeah, the best version of yourself for sure. Right?
Yeah, like, why would you just want to be rich? Why would you just want to be in shape? Why would you just want to be great at your as a husband or as a wife or as a parent? Why not go for the whole package?
Yeah. Do the full environment.
Why not?
It's possible.
It is.
Is it the programming, maybe?
I think so.
Yeah.
We're programmed to believe that it's not possible. And we reinforce that programming every time we give up on ourselves. The more we say we're going to wake up at a certain time and don't, the more we say we're going to work out and don't, the more we say we're going to eat healthy and don't, the more we say we're going to spend time with our kids being present and don't. Every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't, you're programming yourself to, I just don't have it. I'm a procrastinator. I'm big boned. I'm this, I'm that. We accept an identity.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah. And it's a downward spiral. That's why it's important. Follow through with what you tell yourself you're going to do, because it also works the other way. You build trust with yourself. You build confidence in yourself, and you start to elevate.
Golden information, man.
Thank you.
Believe it or not, our time has already come to finishing the interview. That was quick.
Nice. That was quick.
I told you it was going to be quick.
That was fast.
How do people find Octavio?
You can go to octaviourias.com. And it'll have all my links there, my social media, websites, everything that we're involved with.
Okay.
octaviourias.com.
What's the future of Raw?
Crazy to think about this with a pandemic, because you said, well, you built and you lose everything, right? We were even stretched because I went from being this loser to building to opening 7 gyms, our supplement company, serving over 24,000 people, raising and donating over 100K to charities. And right before the pandemic, we were expanding to Austin and San Antonio. We had 9 locations picked up. So we're going to blow up, and then 2020 happened. And so we had to pull back, consolidate. Right now we're at 3. But my mission with Raw Fitness or supplement company or anything I'm involved with is I am here to help a million people live their best lives, lose the fat, beat the anxiety, the self-doubt, the mediocrity, so they can become their happiest, healthiest, best selves. That's what I'm here for. Awesome. Regardless of the vehicle, that's what I'm here for. I found my purpose is to help others live a better life. So that's what I'm doing. And it has to start with me.
Absolutely, man. Well, we thank you for being on our show today.
My pleasure, Marcelo.
This has been a very enlightening interview that I'm sure a lot of people are going to benefit from, for sure. And we thank you for all that you do out in the community and your posts, man. Don't think that you're creating and people are not analyzing, because I'm definitely looking at your posts and being inspired from them. So thank you.
It goes both ways. I'm looking at your page. I'm inspired, and I thank you for what you're doing here in El Paso. Because a lot of times people, they go online and look at these big celebrities or whatever, and there's so many great people in here locally, and
A lot of local.
and so I love what you're doing, and wishing you nothing but the best to bring the best of El Paso here and together and help each other. That's what it's all about.
Awesome, man. I do appreciate that. Thank you, man. Well, one of the things that before we wrapped it up, I wanted to see if somebody right now is wanting to lose weight and get in shape, all they have to do is just go into your website, sign up for the gym. Boom, we'll get them on a plan. Is that the case?
Go to octaviodiaz.com. Yeah, one of the links there, it's going to be our transformation program. Just fill out your name, your phone number, and email. We'll get you all the details. We'll talk about your goals. We'll answer all your questions and figure out if this is something that would be a good fit for the both of us, and we'll get started. Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you, Octavio.
My pleasure, Marcelo.
Awesome, man. Well, you've been watching the LHP podcast. If you like what you guys are listening to, consider supporting our page. We're on YouTube, Spotify. Hit that subscribe button. Social media websites, hit the like and follow buttons. And also, don't forget to hit and follow Raw Fitness and Octavio Urias. Thank you for being on the show, and we'll see you guys next week.